Christ has died and descended to the grave, he will rise again. Doing this video, because Saturdays usually watch a few hours of Law and Order, just to keep a balance. We've been repeatedly victimized by crime the past 8 years. I mean, so much of it. But I want to keep a balanced approach, all the way from understanding that people can be repentant to understanding, that maybe some people, because of their race, they were repeatedly victimized and it made them racist. We don't want to be like them. So this video is because I've seen it. I've seen it ever since somebody in my family was victimized a couple of times. Actually, a couple of people. I've seen a tendency in criminal justice for, I would say this started since the late 70s, early 80s. I see criminal justice swinging. Now again, even the accused have human rights, and capital punishment is a must, but it should only be used in the worst case of scenarios, beyond people that are beyond help, and people that have committed such horrible crimes that they need to be made an example of. But again, there should be a system in place, repeated appeals, give them, the chance to change and to convince the world they've changed. So that's why I said it should be the worst, most, horrible of crime or crimes. But that being said, always leave the door open for people to repent. But the thing that concerns me, I've seen, is a growing movement toward the victimization of perpetrators. And it's been particularly poignant with Time's Up movement and the Me Too movement. But yet it's complicated because there's a lot of people that are innocent. I could think of between Michigan and a large county in Ireland where we have a very distant family, but I always keep up in the Irish news. Very distant family. But in this county, 7 priests were accused, and either they were murdered or they committed suicide. And later, every single victim recanted. And even a couple of them admitted, like we've seen in the States, we just wanted that trust fund. And in Michigan, one particular county, we saw 5 priests accused. I'm not going to deal with Protestants. There's plenty of Protestants there too. But specifically, I'm noting those 5 priests who were accused, and there was only one who was convicted on the testimony of one person. So that's 5 down to 1. And those priests, their lives will never be the same. And, there was ample evidence for one person to be prosecuted. 1 out of 5. And they could take a new name and move to a different diocese, but yet there'll be, some sleuth who will more than likely target them again. And, the thing is, there's another side to this, which is that some people are innocent. They're wrongly accused. The evidence is fabricated, whether by people, at that trust fund money, or people who want revenge, or people who just lie. So, with that in mind, still, there's even another side. As I said before, it's complicated. Got to think in 3 dimensions now, or even 4 dimensions. But you have people that are perpetrators of various things. We've experienced the past 8 years just about every kind of crime you could think. Just about. I mean, some boundaries were only partially crossed, but again, nobody would do anything about it. People say, hey, what are you complaining? Uh, you have your permits, you have your, spotless record, so quit complaining. If you have to do what you have to do, you have a phone. Again, you have to do what you have to do. Still, you know, I see people that they're they're standing in as victims when they're perpetrators. I see it all the time. People that when I was assaulted, somebody who's from a racist group, and I was accused of being mouthy. As a matter of fact, somebody at the VA who's friend of a friend of a friend of them said, "Hey, you're in their house. You deserved it." It's not true. Even TV5 came to the site 3 days later. It was in my front lawn. My blood was spilled on my own front lawn when I was assaulted by three people who were part of a racist group. They were portrayed as victims. Even they spread horrible things about me that are not true. Even though they bully and pick on my daughter and try to get close to her and mess with her head like freaking pedophiles. Yeah, those were not victims. And we think other people that try to smoke us out of our apartment, I mean, literally smoke us out, like trying to get wasps out of a downspout through cigarettes, cigars. This has happened in both complexes. Actually, I take that back. All three complexes we've lived in. Some worse than others. And yet we complain about them all the time, and we're not so friendly, and we look at them mean when we pass them on the sidewalk. These are not victims. Especially when they know that we have asthma in the house, and it's a no-smoking complex. Let's see what else. The people that accuse us of being racist or saying racist stuff, when actually they're the ones that told us that in a particular complex we live, that our plan is to get all you white mother effers out of there. We don't want no SOB-ing white people there. This is coming from the words of somebody that can't be older than teens, but again is family and friends with the people who said stuff about us. Let's see what else. Can't forget the people that ruined my sob. But yet the kids, their parents, and the teens who were their friends who destroyed my car, they said we're mean to them, not real friendly, kind of standoffish, and doesn't leave their apartment so much. Yeah, they ruined my sob. They knew exactly what they're doing because they made us without a vehicle. Then adding to that, what somebody who is connected to the place the same place that we lived at that time, a connection between one of those residents and HUD-VASH, led to me all the promises about payments and reimbursement that ruined my credit, so I had to drop out of grad school. You just see these patterns again where people saying, "Oh, well, he's just not very friendly. We don't want to work on his case." And these are also the same people that gave a turkey to the people who assaulted me. Yeah, one of those social workers is one of the people who gave the turkey to the people who gave the turkey to the man who assaulted me. for Thanksgiving in 2020. So, these people keep playing victim when they're perpetrators. So, the world of criminal justice and the world of crime and the world of victimhood is complex. Nobody certainly wants to be a victim, and it's certainly nothing to brag about. But yet, if people are a victim, they should own what happened to them and tell others to perhaps help somebody avoid a situation, or for somebody to get the courage to speak out and say, look, you know what? That same thing happened to me, which is why I made this channel, this main channel, maybe to help other people being targeted, especially veterans, because I know without a doubt a lot of veterans are being targeted, especially white and Hispanic. A lot. And in some places in Ohio, Asian veterans are being targeted. So, I'll just say that it's complex, but it makes me sick to my stomach when perpetrators play victimhood, and they play it so well. And people, the sad thing is, you're finding a lot of people in law enforcement are not as educated and as experienced as they used to be. They're given a lot more promotion and a lot more power than they were 30 or 40 years ago. Before you had to earn it, you got to get education, you got to get experience. It's not the same now. So you have people that don't understand that the very profile of a criminal, especially a serial criminal at any kind of serial crime, anything, more than likely they're a sociopath. So they can lie even better than the devil himself.